Hey, back again, and Derek Stingley is not a man of many words. He's never at a loss for words because he's not even trying to find them. He's just happy to be playing football and focused on what he wants to focus. And every now and then he has to talk to the media. And in this press conference this week after minicamp, he gave answers that averaged 6 seconds per answer. Sean T. Pendergast did the math on that. And one of them was 18 seconds long. We have that one if you want to slog through it. Of the two clips that I'm going to play from his press conference, that's one of them. But I think it's kind of telling and kind of leads us into some of the things you might see on the Texans defense this year. But first, he was asked to describe basically the guys in the secondary. Give us a little look-see into what their personalities are like.
I mean, you got some crazy people, then you got like me. I don't, not crazy, but I can't be crazy. But I mean, everybody different, so it all work together.
There you go. Everybody's different. The crazy guys is cool. You can identify the crazy guys very easily. Kamari Lassiter and Jalen Petrie, very, very crazy. Derek Stingley says he can't get crazy. Immediately when he said that, what I thought of was, oh yeah, the fight last year during training camp where everybody been in a big scrum because Stephon Diggs took issue with, I think it was Jimmy Ward hitting him. And there was a big scrum. And then out of nowhere, Derek Stingley comes and hits Dalton Schultz upside the head. And it was it was a surprise because it was Derek Stingley doing something that you don't expect somebody as seemingly quiet and reserved as Derek Stingley to do. But still waters run deep, as they say. And he's got that juice to him, so he can be crazy. He likes to come up and hit. He's not afraid to take on blocks. He really, over the course of the first 3 years, really over the course of the first 2 years, he really learned how to play the run, and a lot of that was D'Amico. I think he made a couple of big strides just in understanding exactly when you're outside, when you're outmatched because of size, exactly what you can do to turn the play back in. So that part of it for an all-pro cornerback who actually cares about the other side of the game, the run game, and everything else, it fits really well on D'Amico's defense. The other one, and this is the answer that was 18 seconds long, and I thought kind of telling in the fact that this was his longest answer, was he was asked about Dino Vasso, the cornerbacks coach, and here's the tome he wrote on that.
Yeah, Dino. Without Dino, I mean, none of us would be where we're at right now. I feel like going into every year, we kind of know how to coach ourselves, and not coach ourselves, but like we know what we did wrong and how to fix it. And Dino, of course, help us out. So, I mean, yeah, appreciate the Dino.
Yeah. Dino Vasso and Steven Adegoke, who's the safeties coach. And Adegoke came over from San Francisco. He'd been like a quality control guy in San Francisco when D'Amico was there. Young guy, so he obviously impressed him. I always want to be sure. Yep, Adegoke or Adegoke, however you pronounce it. Those two guys have done very, very well with a secondary that was very, very young last year. With the Jimmy Ward situation right now, and who knows exactly what's going to come of that, impossible to say. But you figure Jimmy Ward was likely going to miss some time due to injuries this year anyway. The safeties, Jalen Reed, the rookie safety, might factor in or have more of an opportunity to play. But Jalen Smith is a guy that can play in the slot. And you might wonder, okay, well, you got Jalen Petrie in the slot. I'll get to that in a second. And Dino Vasso, who had tweeted this out, said, family, I know a lot of you guys noticed that, yes, the younger kids these days, they'll wear a hoodie when it's 90-plus degrees out. So although Kamari Lassiter, I see it in junior high kids a lot. I think Kamari Lassiter doing it without what I'm guessing is a hoodie that looks like it probably costs way more than I've spent on my current wardrobe. So kudos to him. He's a young man living life. But Dino Vasso's done a great job. And he wasn't what's your one? Oh, okay. He wasn't. John Ryan says he has wonderful news, and I don't. John, you never have good news. And if you're telling me you're about to marry your 8th wife, I'm not going to believe it. So when it comes to Dino Vasso, Adegoke, how are they going to work with these young guys, and how can they change the defense a little bit? During minicamp, they were out there in dime for a certain portion, which isn't uncommon. The Texans play nickel defense more than anything else. That's with 5 defensive backs out on the field. And I know a lot of you are sometimes too embarrassed to ask what a nickel defense is, but there's a certain little tweak with the Texans. If we pull this up, if you look at this is a classic how whether you're a 3-4 or 4-3 defense, this is what your nickel defense is going to look like. It's called nickel because you got 5 defensive backs. So you have your 2 cornerbacks on the outside, you've got your safeties, and that NB right there, your nickel back, that's your 5th defensive back. That's Jalen Petrie when they're in nickel. So Jalen Petrie is the 5th defensive back that's added to your base defense where you'd have 4 defensive backs. But again, this is most teams in the NFL now run more nickel than they do their base defense. It's just such a passing game. When you go to dime, because you add 1 extra player, you go up 1 denomination, and you call that dime. So if you look at classic dime, in college and high school especially, you're going to see a lot of 4 wide receiver formations. So that nickelback is on the one slot wide receiver, or the 1 wide receiver there to the left, and then you've got your dime back off to the right. And in the NFL, you don't see 4 wide receivers that often, but that 4th wide receiver is a Travis Kelce or an extra a speedy running back or something like that. And sometimes 4 wide receivers, depending on which scheme you're facing. So the intriguing thing for the Texans is if you look at that and you think, okay, you got 6 defensive backs on the field, what's the weakness? It's the run. So especially for teams that you might want to play dime against in anything other than like a 3rd and really long situation, they've got tight ends that could be kind of scary as a wide receiver, but can also line up and block. If you go back to the nickel, the intriguing thing is that will linebacker, that W right there, you can also align like this depending on how the offense lines up. They might show multiple wide receivers and a bunch of speed on the field, but line up in a condensed formation. That will linebacker could be Jalen Petrie, while the nickel backer is Jalen Smith. Or you get back into the normal dime alignment where everybody's spread out. Then you've got both Jalen Smith and Jalen Petrie out there. It's not exotic or anything, but the big weakness with dime is that you can't stop the run as easily. With Jalen Petrie out there and with Jalen Smith, who plays very aggressively, isn't a sure and secure tackler in college, but very, very willing to come up and hit. That's where I'm intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by perhaps the ability and the versatility of the Texans defense to play more dime, but where it's not as much of a liability if the offense decides to run or line up in a funky formation or something. It's the versatility you get when you have a guy of like young, aggressive, athletic defensive backs. Thank you, Kasia. CJ is still wearing his favorite. I didn't even. Let's see. Let me see if I ID'd him. Where's CJ? I didn't know. I was just assuming it was the. Which one's CJ? I don't know. Are you just talking about in general? Okay. Yeah, these kids in their hoodies, just wearing it out in 90-degree weather, sweatpants and everything. So that's the upside of it. We did Chatty Cathy. If Chatty Cathy, Derek Stingley there had gone on a little bit longer, this would be a longer one. But Nico Collins was on the Greenlight podcast, and Chris Long always does a great job with Texans players when he has them on there. So I'll probably play a few clips of that sometime later today, in case you have not seen it. Yes, I saw it. Thank you. Oh, and the gym photo. That gym photo was really cool too. Thanks. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me on a Friday afternoon. I'll see you a little bit